Welcome back to Coming Into Focus. I am your host, Helen Tansey. Oh, it feels so good to be back. I took a couple weeks off. Life got a little bit busy for me, but I am back and it feels so good to be recording again. And today I have a returning guest. I have Jackie Galton. She was here a few weeks ago. We were talking about health and fitness, and I asked her to come back on the show because I've been noticing on my feed on Instagram that there's a lot of content around getting your bikini body ready or getting your summer body ready, getting your body ready for that dress or that event or that wedding. And there's something about it when I see it. I always think like, gosh, like as women, again, that getting ready, fixing us, that we need to be fixed. And I also, from working with Jackie, she is my nutrition coach, I've come to understand that these 30-day challenges or cleanses or a lot of those programs, they might work, but after they're done, what's going to happen to you? Because it's not about the perfection. It's not about looking a certain way for an event. It's about the consistency, and it's about the commitment to yourself, the commitment to your body, the commitment to your health. And we're living in a time where there's so many quick fixes and we want results so quickly that we're willing to harm ourselves, harm our health, jump from diet to diet or the new fad of working out. And I've really come to learn that consistency is the key. Showing up for yourself and knowing what works for you, knowing what the right foods that you should be eating. Are you getting enough protein? What are the right type of workouts that you should be doing? And as we get older, as women over the age of 50, it's a lot different than it is for younger women. So we're going to be talking about that today and just how can we also understand what our obstacles might be. So for me, I know when I get stressed or if I get overwhelmed, I tend not to eat. I lose my appetite and I don't want to eat. But what I'm learning is to eat, and maybe it's even eating smaller meals or little mouthfuls of things, but just to sort of nourish my body more and build my strength up more. And I think when we know what our obstacles are, whether we get too busy, whether we fall off, or we have a hard time committing to things, those are things I think that are really important to know about yourself. So that way you can anticipate them and have a game plan for when you don't want to get off the couch, or you don't want to work out today, or you want to eat that chocolate bar instead of having something healthier. And we're going to be talking about all of that with Jackie. I am so excited to have her back here. Before I get to the conversation, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for all your constant support. It means the world to me. All right, let's get to Jackie and let's get to the show. Jackie, welcome back. I am so grateful that you're here.
So happy to be here, Helen. Super excited.
Yay. I have been working with you. I think we're going into our 7th week.
Yeah.
And I have learned so much from you. And, you know, in the intro, I talked about how I'm seeing all these clips from contenters on Instagram about, you know, getting your beach body, bikini body, you know, all these things to get ready. And it just always leaves me feeling like, gosh, as women, we're just never enough. We always have to be fixed. And one of the things that I love about working with you is what I have learned is that it's about consistency versus perfection. And you've really taught me that the results that we want come from being consistent. So can we go into that a little bit?
Well, absolutely. Right now, interestingly enough, so there was a study released from McMaster, and it spoke specifically to resistance training, like weight training, strength training. But the whole concept is when we are consistent with anything, we will produce results. And so it isn't a one-off. It's not a 1 week commitment. It's making something sustainable so that we
Mm-hmm.
do have a consistency, a repetition. And that's with good and not so good habits, right? Our results come from the thing we do most often, which is really what consistency is all about. So it's making choices that are doable, that are sustainable, and that will bring the consistency. So as you and I have worked together, like for you, what does consistency look like? What is the one thing that maybe we've come to for you that you feel is bringing results for you? What are you doing consistently that feels like it's producing for you?
Yeah, I think it is doing the tracking, like writing down
Hmm.
my meals.
Yeah.
I think that does two things. I think it makes you think before you just, 'cause I find sometimes that we eat unconsciously, right?
Yeah.
Like when we're clearing off the plates, it's like, oh, I'll stick this potato in my mouth or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And so I find that it makes me more aware of what it is that I'm putting in my body. I think the tracking is a big thing. And I also, honestly, having a coach, like having you, having somebody that I can turn to, or, each week have those calls and talk about, going out for dinner and, that I don't want to say fear, that's not the right word, but making the right
No,
choices.
anticipation, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the tracking, right? Like I feel like that is probably one of the biggest ways for us to recognize what we are doing consistently. We have a
Yes.
human um disposition that we can erase choices. We make them and then they're gone and then we forget we did them. When we consistently track, we can see what we're doing and where the patterns are and where the results are coming from. So that is a big part of establishing consistency. And
And one
yeah,
thing, and consistency too for you, like also the tracking, I just want to be clear for, like, we're not counting calories. Like that's
there,
what
no,
you don't do that, right? So tracking is just what we're putting into our bodies, and we don't sort of what are the calories in this, which I really love because that makes it more complicated and a lot more stressful.
yeah. Well, and when we are so dialed into counting calories and micromanaging, and then that becomes perfection, right? Over consistency,
Mm.
which is the thing that makes people kind of go sideways. That's the moment where it explodes, we drop off, we go back to old habits because it's not sustainable. Whereas tracking, when we do tracking together, and I'm sure you would probably like, does it make you crazy a little bit, even because you're writing it down? Like, even though it's not, we're not counting, but we're still accountable, I guess, is
Yes.
the difference. And it does feel sometimes like, oh, I have to write this down again. But the consistency of committing to recording, to becoming aware of what we're doing is way more beneficial than counting calories because it tells us a better story. It tells us what the behaviors
Mm.
are, the underlying habits. And it's the underlying habits that are really the thing that take this forward for it's a lifestyle, right? We're not just deciding to do this for this, small end goal. And yes, that might get us there, but the idea is that we are building habits to take us for the duration of our life in a
So
healthy way.
when you see that, then when you see on Instagram or ads for, like, get your body in 30 days, like what do you think when you see those things?
Well, it's doable, right? People do it, but I also think those are the people you do it in 30 days, and then the next 30 days after you put all that weight back on and then some. We miss the piece of the greater picture. We'll call it the greater picture, is that it's not about aesthetics and it can't be
Mm.
about the bikini body for May or June because that's one moment of time and you are not learning anything about how does your body work, getting the most out of your body health wise, mobilities, of fun stuff, right? It doesn't come from an instantaneous result because that piece is impossible. You can't maintain whatever it is you achieve quickly, right? It's not about quick. The slow snail, right, wins the race at the end of the day
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
he's consistent, right? Small steps forward always.
And
Yeah.
you're right, because I find that doing the program with you, um, it's the consistency, but also when I want to go for something junky, I always have your voice like, why? What is that giving you?
Mm,
And I know that you're not like, what, if you want to do it, Helen, do it. Like, you don't restrict people, but you make that, you ask that question, that pause, instead of just
Yeah.
going to that autopilot. Because when we've been eating a certain way for, so many years, we are on autopilot, right? And it's like for some people, they have a stressful day, they have a glass of wine or they have chocolate
Hmm.
or, and then is this in alignment with your goals? And just taking that moment to pause and ask yourself that.
And so inquiring minds want to know, what is your junkie? What is your junkie food that you would lean
Oh,
into?
you know what? It's changed over the years. I used to be
Okay.
chips, like definitely. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
for sure, Diet Coke. I love a Diet Coke, and
Fair.
then my tea, which I'm not having anymore. My tea,
Yeah.
and I have had a couple of
But
times.
what
I've
did you
done
put in
like
your tea? What did you put
I
in your
know
tea? It's just not
cream and a
tea.
lot of sugar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the sweet treat. And,
Yes.
I'm going to say it, but I know it's not like, it's not a, it's not a soft way to say something, but, we reward good behavior with food when we
Mm-hmm.
train our animals. So, at some juncture along the way, it's you're not a dog, you don't get a treat. And so
Mm-hmm.
repositioning what these sweet treats are, chips, we, there, not one of us doesn't love something, but it's that love that has been produced, right? The big companies created these triggers so that salt, sugar, fat combined, we love them. But if we remove those as the coping mechanism, the love in a package, we need to replace that with something. Because
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, if I say, okay, you can't have any of that, then you'll restrict. There's your 30 days. And then after that, it's all up front. Like we just go
Mm-hmm.
for it. Because we have to have a little bit of something, but not all of it, right? It's enjoying it, deciding to choose it, eating it slowly, but having another way to cope, to self-soothe besides that quote unquote treat is though that's the power of change. Like when you can make
Mm-hmm.
that choice, the thing that you choose is the thing that will work and stick with consistently. That's the magic. 100%.
Yeah. And then that brings me to the next question is like,
Yeah.
why we fall off, like even when we know, that we're going to feel bad if we eat that junky meal
Right.
or that chocolate bar or that chips. But and what I have found, because I've been eating so clean, a couple of weeks ago, I think I had to go to a funeral. On the way home, I got myself a tea because I was feeling sad. The next day I was craving it. So
Yeah.
it's interesting how our body, we think like, well, just do it this once. But it's almost like,
Yes.
it's like heroin. You get a taste of it. You get that sugar and
Oh,
your body's like, come on, give me more. I want more.
it's cocaine for the brain, right?
Yeah.
100% it is. And that is why, right, we fall back. So, it's having that little bit. Oh, I can have a little bit because it's been like a week or two. I'm going to have a little bit, but that's a trigger food. So then your brain
Yeah.
registers pleasure. And literally, there is a voice in that head that's saying, "Oh, but Helen, you should have just a little bit more. It'll be fine. It'll be fine." And then it keeps expanding. So that is that addictive piece, right? Those sugars, those feels are built into that structure. So when we can unprogram, move further away from, it helps us to resist better. Plus, when you are eating in a whole way, right, we build our meals around protein, veg, carb, and fat together. So our blood sugar is stabilized, our thought process is a little bit more solid. So we're able to say,
Mm-hmm.
no, I don't really want that. I'm not doing that this time. But when we're tired and we're depleted and we haven't been eating well, it's much easier to go down that slippery slope of old habits. And the old
Yes.
habits are there, right? We can create new habits, but those old habits rear their heads because in an immediate moment when life happens, that's the default mechanism. It takes way more awareness, more presence to say, that doesn't align with my choice. That does not take me closer to my goal. So I'm not doing that. And it probably sounds really silly. I very often will encourage people to talk out loud, like actually have a conversation with
Yeah.
yourself because you're going to hear it then. An auditory registration, write it down. Like journaling is a huge part of this process. Like if you write down your intentions and have that conversation, and it's not about beating yourself up, it's about being like aware, like where is this decision coming from? It's getting in front of your choice, right? So in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, you chose a tea in a not so great moment. So it's seeing the thought before the choice and either giving yourself permission because right then it's not such a worse, like a bad deal. You didn't go offside completely. And when we're consistent, right, 90% of the time making awesome choices, 10% of the time there's room. That's where
Yes.
it's non-restrictive, right? We are just going to choose, though, with a lot of awareness. A piece of chocolate cake, not an entire cake, right? A tea, not like tea every day for a week. So
Yeah.
recognizing where we're at there and owning the choice, right? We have a choice or we have
Yeah.
an excuse. That's
Yeah.
where we land.
It's interesting though when you make those choices when you are living healthy, whether, working out or eating well or not drinking, whatever it is we
Yeah.
decide. It's interesting how, you could be out for dinner and the dessert menu comes, you say, no, thank you, I'm not eating dessert. And people are like, oh, you're, like people,
Mm,
it's sometimes harder to be healthy than it is to be unhealthy. And with the
yes.
people around you also, right? Like it's, or people go, oh, it's only just one piece, Helen, or it's just, or Jackie, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you say like, and it's not a punishment, it's not like we're punishing ourselves. It's not like it's like, for me, it's like I'm looking at the big picture. And I know, and we'll get to this later on, that, as I approach 60, if I want to get to 70 and 80 healthy, all these healthy changes are going to help me get there. Because I
Yeah.
think what people don't realize, like even when, one glass of wine now is, I mean, it's a carcinogen. And even eating, like, yeah, you want to have a piece of chocolate cake every now and then, like you said, but a lot of the times people can't do that. It just leads to
Yes.
more. And to me, I want to age as healthy as I can and
Yeah.
live a long, healthy life. And there's just too much research out there that, what eating unhealthy does for, and especially as we get older. When we're younger, we can get away with a lot more. But as we get older, I don't think we can get away with as much as we did when we were
Yeah, and I
younger.
don't, yeah, it's not even, do we get away with it younger? I just think we don't see the implications of the choices.
Right.
It just catches up to people eventually.
Yeah.
Um, and the new mantra is we're not getting older, we're getting better, right? So we're not
Yes.
technically aging, we're improving because we have wisdom behind us now, right? We have all this history so that we have landed where we are and are capable of making the next choices to go forward, right? With a whole bunch of awareness. So recognizing how does alcohol make me feel so
Hmm.
that we are actually recognizing, you know, it is as much as it's a poison and we're being told more importantly for self, like in your own person, make your own call. Like, how do you feel after drinking alcohol? And not a lot of people have positives to come from that conversation. Same
Yeah.
thing with not so good food, not so whole food. It's a negative association, and yet we choose to repeat. So if we
Yeah.
want to have our best lives going forward, and there's no reason, right, that we can't go into our 80s in the most amazing way. We're writing a new story here. So it's finding our way towards making choices, and they're tiny choices that we move forward with, but we repeat with consistency to keep going in that direction so that you can
Yeah.
have your best lives ahead of us, right?
Yeah.
Do,
Yeah.
do life in a really big, bright, bold way.
Yeah. And I like what you said too, where that 10%, if you're, or what is it, the 80/20 rule? Like I went to see a movie, we went to see Project Hail Mary,
Yeah.
and which is a great film, but also I got my popcorn and my
Yep.
layered butter, and I'm like, I'm having this and I am going to enjoy, and I enjoyed it, and it was great, and I didn't beat myself up afterwards.
Yes.
And that's the thing
Amazing.
too. It's like what you said earlier. It's like we decide. We don't let our cravings or our emotions. It's like we decide. It's like, you know what? I am going to do this and I am going to enjoy it.
Yeah, and that's eating mindfully, right? And it's eating it slowly, and it's so much easier. I mean, I'm certainly everyone probably has had the experience of having that popcorn, but just literally shoveling it in and then was like, oh, well, like what was that even? I don't even remember tasting it or enjoying it
Mm,
because you're not mindful about it. So when we slow down all the good things and enjoy them, we get so much more from the experience and we get enough. And then we say, okay, that was my moment, and then I'm good for a little while. I'm not going to the movies every week, every other day, that kind of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Special. It's a
Um,
special occasion.
it is a special occasion.
Yeah.
So let's talk about obstacles because that's something, and that can be for diet or for fitness too. Do
Okay.
you think knowing what our obstacles are and sort of planning for that, like when we're thinking about making a change in our health or wanting to be healthier, whether it be diet, fitness, knowing that, okay, if I'm stressed or time wise, time management, what your weaknesses are, like not having chocolate in the house if you know you're good. But is it a good thing to know what our obstacles are and then say, okay, when this comes up, this is my game plan for it?
Absolutely. Right. A
Yeah,
goal without a plan is just a wish. So we always need to have a
right.
plan.
It's good.
But I do want to circle that back. Sometimes the obstacles are the people that we're with. So like you
Mm,
were speaking about someone saying, well, it's just one more. Why wouldn't you just have this or have the drink, have the piece of cake? What's wrong with you? Like just enjoy your life. It's
enjoy your life.
those are your
Yeah,
pushers, right? So those are the people that sometimes are the obstacles because they are going to interfere with what you're trying to accomplish and recognizing it's just because you're making them feel like, well, if she's not doing it, then if she doesn't think that what I'm doing is right, is it not healthy? Is it a judgment towards me? So it doesn't really have anything to do with you, but at the same time, it does impact you. So definitely an obstacle. So
mm,
planning who you are going to bring around into your space while you're trying to be your healthiest best self, right? We are who we surround ourselves with.
yeah,
So, that is a definite need a plan for that. Um, and if you know in advance, plan your week in advance, it's going to be crazy. That's that moment of, okay, so I just was discussing this with a client. We're going to have little bags of protein powder in the car ready to go to mix with some water for those moments that they can't get where they need to be. They can't bring food with them to their
mm,
event. So they have a backup plan. So there's no crazy choices being made. They are supporting themselves.
mm.
Prepped veggies in the fridge, right? It's making a mindful, thoughtful approach because, lots of people will say, well, I just don't have time or I can't. Well, yeah, you can. You're going to get up a little bit earlier or you're going to go to bed a little bit later. You always have an option, but you're
Yeah,
making your choice. And those choices are going to bring you or not bring you the results that you're hoping for.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and especially with the food part, because I think that if you are eating consistently and you're eating well, I find that I don't crave junk,
Yeah. Yeah. Because your blood
right?
sugar's stable. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that you can actually speak to this, right? Like you're in the middle of it, you're doing it. And I think you would say it hasn't been easy. It's not easy to create change for sure
Yeah.
initially. But did it
Yeah.
get easier? Did you find?
It did. It did.
Yeah,
And I think the hardest thing for me at the beginning was giving up my tea. But you know what? I have to say, my family, my husband and my boys are so supportive and they're just like, we're so proud of you, mom.
amazing.
And they just see like, I have more energy. I'm excited. And I think they're just happy to see me eating food because I would go,
Mhm.
I think I've shared this on the show. Like I've never, I'm not anorexic or anything, but I got to that point, in my 50s where what's going on? Like I'm not eating as much, I'm working out and I'm gaining weight. And I was just spiraling and just going from, fad diet to fad diet, seeing something on Instagram. Okay, I will try this, I'll try that. And my youngest son Tristan, he's just, when I make my meals, it's like, chicken with roasted vegetables and sweet potatoes, and he's just so happy. He's like, oh my god, I'm so
Mm,
glad to see you eating this. And so I think that the proof that they can just see that I'm happy, I'm even, and I
yeah.
feel good. I feel good and I'm inspired. And then even with the fitness component of it, understanding what your obstacles are with that, because one of the mottos that I always have in my head is that I won't regret going for that run or that walk or
Mhm.
that yoga class or the gym, but I will regret if I sit on the couch and just watch TV and don't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. What seems easy is actually the hard, right? So
Yeah.
it is a matter of reminding yourself too, like it can just be 10 minutes. Like it doesn't have to be this decide it's going to be an hour of something. 10 minutes is better than no minutes. 10 minutes consistently is going to bring some results of some sort.
Yeah.
And more so, those are happy hormones, right? When we move our body, when we squeeze our muscles, we release happy hormones. And the hormones are at the kind of the center of our universe in a way, they have a huge implication for how we feel. And so when we
Mm-hmm.
feel positive, we tend to repeat the habit, right? So it's can we find our way towards those choices? So that is where we land in those moments.
And you said something to me that was interesting a couple of weeks ago where you said just because you don't have a menstrual cycle anymore, it doesn't mean that you don't,
Mm.
your hormones still aren't,
Yeah, you're
you know,
still
going,
cycling.
you're still cycling. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that? Because I
Well,
found that interesting. Because a lot of times when, you know, when I used to have a period, you know, I could just like pick up the fridge and tilt back my head. Like it was just, I could never get enough food. And then,
yes.
but I just thought when you finish your period, like it's kind of like you don't have that anymore, but we still do.
Well, and I think you would probably, if we tracked, right? So it's the whole idea about the journaling. If you track your moods in particular, so, okay, yes, no period coming, but if you track your cycle, and it can be like on
Mm,
that same 4 week, 28 day, it might be on a 6 week, but there generally is this mood repetition and it's a down
mm,
cycle and it's a little bit, you think you're not quite. Something's not, you're off. And maybe
yes.
that's the super emotional moments or they're angry moments, and we can't quite figure out where they're coming from. What is this about? But if you calendar yourself and you track, you'll see there is this rotating cycle of mood that happens. And yes, we can mitigate it. Those moods tend to be better when we are eating really well and properly. And even PMS symptoms, when we're still having our period, they are less intense because we
Mm,
have brought down the inflammation. And so we're feeling good. So when moments of not so good come our way, they just don't feel as difficult to handle. So the
right.
same thing with that mood sort of cycling through, it's paying attention to you. Like it's so easy to be distracted and out of our bodies and not really listening. And that is part of the process. Like we've disconnected. So when we even initially started working together, right? The first
Mm,
thing is like, let yourself feel what hungry feels like and then figure
mm,
out what does physical hunger feel like and emotional hunger because they're there. More
mm,
importantly, we don't necessarily pay attention to the physical hunger, but we're on that emotional hunger. And you had mentioned too about not eating a lot, cycling through those fad diets again. And like when we talk about this whole skinny thing, right?
yeah.
And so many women, especially in the 50 plus age group, come and, I do like a little pre-assessment. Let's show me what you're doing. And the amount of women that are eating like tiny little birds because they feel
Yeah.
like less is going to bring weight loss. And yes, there is a calorie deficit that will bring weight loss, but the body needs energy and food. So we need to eat more, but more of the good stuff in order to get the whole engine going. Like I would say you're a Lamborghini. You got to give it good gas. If we're not giving it, it's
Yeah.
not going to perform. So, it's part of learning that piece as well, that it isn't about restriction and, you know, not giving yourself enough. We need to fill. We need to not take away in those
Yeah.
places. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is. It is sad how many women that we just don't understand it and we just start starving ourselves in some sort of a
Yeah,
way.
it's old ways. So that's old habit. So,
Yeah.
working with women, they sometimes will go to that, right? And it's a reminder that is, please try it my way and see what happens, right? Like um, I
And it
know.
works.
So
Yeah.
yes. So, but our want for a result and for a quick result, we go back to the things that maybe worked when we were teenagers
Yeah.
because we cycled through. And so this is I was talking to my daughter about the whole skinny thing. Like we have just, social media, it's everywhere. And I said, like Helen and I lived through those years of when we were teenagers. And I don't remember the little fiber pills. I don't know if you remember those. I can't remember what they were called. But right? There was all this on the market that we were taking to
Yeah.
try and like not eat. And like you wanted to be your skinniest because that was supposed to be, the
Yeah.
thing, the
Heroin
aesthetic.
chic.
But this right? It is an aesthetic. And she's
Yeah.
22 and she goes like, it's not about, it shouldn't be, but that's what they're showing us. But she gets that it's about strong.
Yeah.
And that makes me happy. Like women going and working out and wanting to know how to build muscle, like how much protein should I eat? Like if we can start young and be the examples for those girls,
I
that's the
agree.
big deal. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot of the times, like the skinny as we get older, the osteoporosis and the not having strength
Yeah.
to, if you like traveling, lifting your bags to put them up over your
Yes.
head, or if you have grandchildren to be able to pick them up. And so it's looking at the big picture again.
Yeah. And not
Yeah.
self-limiting, right? We have these self-limiting thoughts about like, okay, so I'm this age now. Now I can't jump up and down, or I don't jump up and down because I'm this age, or what am I capable, not capable of? I teach a group of chair yoga women who are generally all over the age
Mm,
of 70-ish, and maybe late 60s maybe. But those women, because I don't allow for self-limiting, like we do pointer pose, they do it all and well.
I love
And
that.
when someone, I think when we can give the message of you are capable, we can do anything, then you rise, right? You feel seen and you rise to the challenge. But when we live in that place of, oh, now you're 50, so you're going to sit in the chair and watch
Yes.
Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Like,
Or we think that it's too late, and it's never
yes,
too
it's not
late.
over. It's just begun. Like this is
Yeah.
literally like I very much yeah, I'm inspired by the women who are literally living their best lives now
Yeah.
because again, we have the wisdom and it's the opportunity. So it's
Yeah.
creating the opportunity and
I
looking
did
at our
that.
food, right?
Yeah.
The
I did that
fuel.
the other day. I went for as you know, I'm training for a half marathon. That's sort of
Yes,
my
and I'm
my
very excited
my
about
gift
that.
into 60. And when I was running, there's a part where I had to go up these stairs, and I'm running with Benny, and so when the stairs come, I'm kind of slow, and I'm like, ugh, and I'm like, no, Helen, just I'm gonna swear, okay, I go like fucking do it, and I just tapped into it, and I did it, and I went, okay, I can do it. Like I was limiting myself. And it's sort
Yes.
of, there's that point where you're like, oh, and it's like if you just sort of change that headspace, we can do it.
It's honestly, and it is headspace. So somebody
Yeah,
actually said to me, this nutrition stuff that you do isn't even about food. It's about psychology. And I'm
I
like, you're
agree.
right. I don't even know
I
how to like,
agree.
there's no other way to say it. And it is the psychology of food and why we choose food. But deciding in your brain that you can do anything,
Yep.
just say yes, right? This is the shift. If we say we
Yes.
can't, we can't. But if we say we can, we absolutely can.
Yeah.
Any of it.
There was two things I wanted to share. One with you when we were talking about old habits. Last week I shared with you I shot a commercial, and I had
Yeah.
this old habit come in, and I think I messaged you saying don't eat breakfast, like don't eat so you can be
Hmm.
super thin. Not that that's going to make a big difference a day, but it was that repeat old pattern. And I messaged you, I think, that morning and said, this is what was going on in my head. But what I did do is I made myself my morning breakfast bowl and I
Yeah.
ate it and I went and I was proud of myself for that. But it's amazing how quickly I went back to that old pattern of like, okay, well, don't eat.
Yeah. Right. But in a
Yeah.
moment when nervous system, that's nervous system default. So, that nervous system is there to save your life, to protect you. So, your anxiety picked up. You started to like get a little anxious. So old habit pops into head. How do I work this?
Yes.
And it's recognizing and interrupting the thought process, which is exactly what you did, right? That is the
Yeah.
practice
Yeah.
because, and your brain lies to you. Your brain is going to always tell you the story that it wants to tell you. And it doesn't mean it's the right story. It just means
Right.
it's an opportunity to notice it and then put it on the shelf because we're done with that and
Yeah.
take on the new role. Yeah. And then you had energy for your commercial, right? It's that,
Yeah.
how did that feel going forward? Like, how was it? Did it feel good to eat and then show up?
Oh, totally. And it
Yeah.
actually, my nerves were calmer.
Mm,
Yeah. But or even when you talk about our goals, or when you mention journaling, I think that's
yeah.
a really important thing too, because understanding what our why is and really committing to that, committing to yourself. And I know
Hmm.
some people do where they write a contract or something like that for
Yeah.
themselves, and whether that be physical fitness or eating. And it's not that you're being hard on yourself, it's not that, it's that you're committing to your health. And especially as women, I think that what I'm noticing, getting older, is that I'm putting myself first. where I always put everybody else before me,
Mhm.
which I think is such a common thing that we all do as
Mhm.
women. But now, like, just trying to put myself first and say, no, I'm going for a run. You can cook dinner tonight or
Yeah.
whatever it
Yeah,
is.
good.
But I think getting to that point of the journaling of understanding what your why is. Why are you reaching out to somebody like you for coaching on health and
Mhm.
nutrition because you want to feel better? What does that mean to you? What does that
Yeah.
look like? Right? And then peeling back the layers, like why
Mm.
haven't you been able to do that? And I think that that's a huge thing too, is understanding our why and remembering that in those moments when we're like, oh, I don't want to work out, or I'm just gonna, eat bonbons or something.
Every morning, right? We remind
Yeah.
ourselves of our why because we have to remember why we're doing it in order to stay on
Yes.
track. Because there has to be a bigger underlying reason. So there's actually an activity that like everybody should do, and it's the 5 whys. So, you ask yourself why the first time, you come up with this little contrite answer, but then you ask why again, and then why one more time, and then do it 5 more times to get to the root. Like, it has to be something deep and meaningful. And quite often for women in particular, it'll be, I want to be able to play with my grandchildren. I want to get up and down off the ground easily. I want to, be able to carry my luggage, go up and down the stairs. Like when you travel in Europe, you better be able to do
Yeah.
stairs because there's nothing but stairs. So
Yes.
and that can be an amazing why because it's tied to performance. Like physically, you're going to be able to measure your success because you either can or you can't. So
Yeah.
those whys matter. Or, if it isn't even nutrition, like it depends, whatever your goal is in life, whatever you're trying to achieve, whatever change you're trying to make, if you don't have a why, you're going to give up. It'll just
Yeah.
evaporate because you need to still recenter. So journaling about it, putting it on a sticker, um, making sure that you have a record, right? You're holding yourself accountable and realigning every morning because every morning's a new start, a new day. And so re-choosing that this is your
Mm.
why, this is what you're doing. And yeah, it may be uncomfortable, but nothing good comes unless it is uncomfortable. There was no easy
Yes.
in the formula.
Yeah.
It's always uncomfortable. And then a good thing comes on the other side of uncomfortable.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. So if somebody we were just talking about earlier, those quick fixes where you can do those 30-day challenges, or even I find Ozempic. It's like I just read an
Mm,
article that was saying when people go off it, because you can't stay on it forever, they're gaining the weight back.
mm.
Because I don't think it's teaching people how to eat. It's just,
Right? Yeah.
it's just stopping you from wanting to eat. But when you come off it, how are you going to eat, and are you going to eat
Yeah.
well? But
Yeah.
if somebody is like, okay, I want to get healthy, I need to start to sort of take better care of myself. What are 3 things that people could do today to start feeling better about themselves?
Okay, I love this question. Um, the 3 easiest, so I'm going to say
Yeah.
easy changes to make. So tiny. It's always going to be a small thing. So the first thing's water. So without a doubt, um, nobody's drinking enough water. Yeah, there are some. There will be some exceptions to the rule, but
Yeah.
we're aiming to drink 2 liters of water a day minimum.
Yeah.
Um, it is amazing how many people can come up with excuses as to why they are not drinking water or why they don't like water
Yeah.
or and so we can work around that a little bit. I say add
Yeah.
some lemon, a little bit of Himalayan salt. It becomes a natural electrolyte. Steep some tea and so the water has flavor, but there are no excuses that are big enough that it's a reason not to. Like we need water. We are made of water. We need water, period.
So let me know. So
So
what is that?
yeah,
Because I know that. I mean,
yeah,
I intellectually, like, I know
yeah.
that, but why is it like? What does the water do when you say 2 liters? Like, what is it that it does?
So, well, we want to, it gives us energy, right? When we're
Yeah.
hydrated. When we're dehydrated, we have signs of dehydration, which are uncomfortable symptoms, right? We maybe have headaches, we're low energy, we feel like we want a nap in the afternoon, we're moody. It's all those associated negativity things. Um, it's an important function. When your body is made of it, we need to give it
Mm-hmm.
back to it, right? Think about like if you think about your skin, like hydrated skin from the inside just looks full and supple and lovely. And sometimes that's the feedback that I get from women when I say start drinking your water. They're like, my skin's so good. Well,
Mm,
yeah. And we're dehydrating ourselves all the time, especially if we drink alcohol, right? Like that's something that's
right.
going to take away from. Um, so yes, important functionality. And there is science there too. I'm just not offering that up
Yeah, yeah,
forward. I'd have to look up
yeah.
the terms. But those are the simple reasons, like good reasons to do so. The second thing I would say is eat slowly and look for
Mm,
your 80% full feeling, right? Look for satisfied, not stuffed, not, oh my gosh, I have to undo my pants, and really be with what you're eating and sort of no phone, no TV, like no distraction. You can have good company. That's okay. But
yeah.
recognize like how it feels to eat and enjoy your food. Like food is a luxury. It's amazing, right? Like there's things that are
Mm,
textures, there's tastes. And to imagine not wanting to eat food, like that's when you said that about the Ozempic, like I was like, I can't imagine to not have that desire to eat would
yeah.
just, like it's a good, eating is not a negative thing. This is a pleasure. Societies for centuries, right? It is a ceremonious in community
Yes.
and family. Like we don't want to remove that. It's an important piece, but it's having the ability to say, okay, I'm satisfied. My body knows how much it needs to feel satisfied and meet that feeling. So that would be like number two for sure.
Yeah.
And slow it all down would be the third thing. So no quick decisions, no grabbing your food on the go, no eating in the car. We're going to sit at a table no matter what. We're going to get up a little bit early and you're going to have breakfast there. And I know you commute and go to work really early, but you need to carve out the time for you. And, okay, I'm going to add four, cycling back to what you said, right? You're number one. We can't always put other people in front of us as and we do, that's what we do, especially certain personality types default there, and so they'll do the lovely things for everybody else, but they leave themselves at the end of the line. So it's I'm going to go for a run, I'm going to A, B, or C, whatever it is that's going to take care of you. A little self-care in
Mm,
front of everybody else would be the other thing I would highly encourage, and good choices come from there. um I had a client once that had a dog, and the dog required a raw food diet, and she would spend 2 hours prepping that food, but didn't do any food prep for
right.
herself. So, and then when we talked about
Yeah.
it, you can see the illogicalness in it. However, she just was loving that dog and she got put on the back burner. So,
Yeah.
that's an extreme example of, right, a tiny thing we can do to feel better and good. And
Yeah.
you'd be amazed at what your nervous system will do with that. When you feel good, it goes, oh, I'm safe, I'm held, and I can let my body work the way I need it to work. So now I'm going to digest and you're going to lose a little
Yeah.
bit of weight because you're
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not waiting for something horrible to happen to make that decision.
Yes.
Like I know with you, if people listen to the other episode we had was
Yeah.
breast cancer.
Yeah.
For me, I got a lung disease and
Hmm.
I was a smoker, and it was amazing when they told me it's like done. I was just done with smoking. It wasn't even a
Yeah.
question. Right. And so we are more powerful and we are more able to make those hard choices than we realize, and not to wait for a health condition or something to happen either to us or somebody else for that wake up call. Like
Hmm.
choose healthy. Just
Hmm.
right, choose to feel good and choose to eat food that fuels you and move. And I was reading an
Yeah.
article about the 10,000 steps, and it was saying it's not that you have to do the 10,000 steps. It's that we've become immobile. Like we don't move like we used to do. We're so much more sedentary. So the 10,000 steps is like get up and move. So even if, it doesn't have to be you walk 10,000 steps in one
Yeah.
walk, but even throughout the day, walk around the block, after dinner, walk around the block. But the whole thing is
Yeah.
movement. Like we're not moving like we used to do.
And then it's taking away, like when we say 10,000 steps, people in their minds will say, well, I can't, that's just too much. So
Yeah.
that's the thing again, right? So just move, period.
Just
1,000
move.
steps is better than no 1,000 steps. Like you're right. We need to
Yeah.
start moving. Yeah. And
Yeah.
enjoying and, speaking to the idea of not waiting for that moment. I think so often, people will be in a moment of they don't know how to feel any other way. They've been in high stress response, tons of cortisol. Life has been chaos for so long. They think they feel good. Like they don't know
Mm,
until they know. And so
hmm.
that's the challenge. Like if I had to say, like, try, like just for a moment, do those 3 or 4 things that I suggested and start to notice, do I feel better? Am I sleeping better? Is my digestion
Yes.
better? And then you have a comparable. But when you ride in stress response for long enough, you think it's normal. And it's not. It's not normal to not feel good,
Yeah.
but it's in your power to make a little bit of a change.
There was a model. She was a plus size model, and I remember she was very body positive.
Yeah.
And then she got sick. Something happened. She got sick and she lost weight. And then she was like, oh, I kind of like this. I'm actually feeling better. And she started working out, making better health changes, and she lost some weight. And people were sort of calling her out on it, saying, well, what about when you're body positive? And she said, I thought that was okay. But I didn't realize until I started losing weight and eating healthier that that knee pain, that back pain was
Right.
because of the extra weight that I was carrying with. And she said, I was fine until I realized that, oh, this actually isn't healthy for me.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's true that we can make these, I don't want to say excuses, but it's what we know.
And
So
we
we
only
think
know
it's
what we know.
okay.
Yeah.
And then when you start feeling better, it's like being in an abusive relationship and then you find somebody who treats you so well, you're like, "Oh my God, like this is great. I didn't know it could
But
be
you
this
had
way."
no idea.
You had
Yes.
no idea.
Right. So we need that comparison and that comparable. And
Yeah.
I also think it's hard when we're always comparing to other people, right? So if
Yeah.
we have to find that place in ourselves where, our body's our body, our experience is our experience. And so it's so hard with social media to not look and to not
So
compare.
hard.
So if that's a problem, then we need to literally stop looking because
Yeah.
that's where really the demise is of, looking at these skinny pictures that probably aren't even real. We're probably so photo edited at this point. Those are not real images that we're trying to be. And why? What's the why? Why is your why that you want to look like
Mm.
that? What do you feel is going to be the outcome of being able to wear a bikini and look like that? How does your life improve there? Like,
Yeah.
what is it that you really want? And where is the lack then? So is that coming from where? But that's
Yeah.
that work. That's that deep dive into self to understand and recognize what it is we want and why, for
Yeah.
sure.
Before we wrap up,
Yeah.
what is your go-to like when you want like junk
Mm,
or something? Do you have like something or
yes. Well, currently it is chocolate. So,
a specific type
period.
of chocolate?
Period. Chocolate. It's just chocolate. It doesn't matter what the chocolate
Okay.
is. So I seek really good chocolate. So this is how I work it. So this might be too much information, but if I try some chocolate and it's not like amazing, I will spit it out because I'm like, I'm not going to have that if it's not totally worth it. So high value treat for me.
Yes.
Um, yeah. So it doesn't matter. There's no brand. There's no like, I just like chocolate.
Yeah. You're like
So
MT. She's a chocolate holic. She loves her
it's
chocolate.
just, I would like chocolate. So that is definitely my yum. But
Okay.
I love chips too. But it's funny. It's been so long since I've actually
Yeah,
had them.
same.
So the other thing is oil, right? So oil, canola oil in particular is what is in potato chips. And like, it's not even real food at this point.
Yeah.
So, um, when you cue into eating them, stomach doesn't feel good. I can make the association. I know what the end result is, so it's not worth it. However, there
Yeah.
are avocado oil chips.
Yes.
So and it's hard rock, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
remember the
They're
brand,
really
but
good.
yeah, really good. And they're straight avocado oil. There's no mix there. And my stomach
Yeah.
loves that. So those ones are
Yeah.
great if I'm having
Yeah.
I want something. But I indulge. I most certainly do. Like it's not that I don't, but I just keep it in perspective, right? And
And you choose it.
yeah, I totally choose
Yeah.
it and enjoy it.
Yeah. I love
Every
that.
bite. Yeah.
So last question. What do you wish more women understood about their bodies and their health that would take some of the pressure off of them?
That our bodies are amazing, right? They are the
Mm,
vehicle for life, and a little more love, a little less judgment about their bodies, and make it about feeling better. Don't make it about aesthetic, right?
yeah.
We're here to be strong, and wow, we're strong. And so
Mm,
allow yourself to like feel it, know it, own it, and then just be your best you. And your body is
yeah.
a reflection of you. So make the choices, be the biggest, shiniest you that there is, and love yourself, right? It all starts with
Mm,
loving yourself. And you love yourself
yeah.
with your food and your choices. And yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Helen. Thanks for having me.
Um, oh, always. And to our listeners, Jackie and I have been talking about that we're going to try to do an episode with you once a month. We're not sure like if it's going to be the Monday or the Wednesday, but so people listening, if you have questions or topics that you would like us to uncover, we would love to know because I think, Jackie, you're somebody who really cares about what you do and really wanting to support women, especially women that are over the age of 50. A lot of women are struggling out there, and we want to sort of
Yeah.
support them and help them. So, if there's any topics, whether it be about sleep, if you want more stuff on nutrition, whatever it is, or even, and you're also like, a fitness guru too. So even about
Well,
fitness, like, like let us know because we would love to know what interests you also.
yeah. And keep the conversation going, right? Living our best
Yeah.
lives, getting
Yeah,
better, not
living our
older.
best
Yeah.
lives. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. To our listeners, thank you for being here. We appreciate it as always. Hope you have an incredible week. Drink lots of water, which
Yeah.
I have to do more of. And until next time, thank you.